Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. It's the first Thursday of the month, which means that we're in the kitchen with Across the Fence. Today our chefs are going to prepare recipes using the bountiful harvest we've had this summer. With me are Heather Fisher from Colchester and Deb Plumley and Lynn Jarvis, both from South Hero. It's nice to see you all again.
Thank you.
And I'm pleased to announce that the two winners of the boat ride with Lynn Jarvis, they were Liz Pecor from Moncton and Donna Wiley from Swanton. Congratulations. And it looks like you had a beautiful day with Lynn on Paradise Bay in South Hero. And this next photo shows the happy group about to enjoy apple blueberry crisp that Deb made for them. Understand it was delicious. That's the perfect lead-in to our free drawing for this month, which is donated by Deb and Hackett's Orchard in South Hero. It's this 148-page An Apple a Day Keeps the Blues Away. It has over 150 apple recipes for you to try, and one of them is for an apple cider grape punch that we're going to try at the end of the program. Well, it's nice of you to donate that book, Deb.
My pleasure, and it's always great to be here.
Yeah, and I'll let everybody know how they can enter for the free drawing. In the meantime, let's see what you have for today.
Well, great.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to start with a viewer recipe, and I'm just going to tilt it up a little bit here, from Roberta Maltese of Rutland for zucchini scramble. You can see the colors of the vegetable in this tasty dish. Saute finely diced onion, pepper, and zucchini in butter until tender with a few sprigs of chopped basil. Push the sautéed vegetables to the side. Add 4 beaten eggs. Stir as you would for scrambled eggs, mixing in the vegetables as the eggs set up. Add salt and pepper to taste. This would make a nice dish for a brunch or serve with a salad for a light meal. I want to thank Roberta for sharing this recipe with our viewers. Heidi Chamberlain of South Hero has a great way to use surplus tomatoes with this recipe for green tomato bread. Mix flour, sugar, cinnamon, baking powder, and baking soda in a bowl. Make a well with the dry ingredients and add eggs, oil, vanilla extract, and 2 cups of finely chopped green tomatoes. Pour into loaf pans and bake about 1 hour. This bread smells wonderful baking, and with 2 loaves you have 1 to share or 1 to freeze for later. And no one is going to guess the secret ingredient of the chopped green tomatoes. I want to thank you to Heidi for sharing this recipe. It's never too late to think about soups. And this tomato corn chowder brings together the flavors of late summer. I'm going to tilt it up a little bit here so the viewers can see just how wonderful this chowder looks. Chopped onion and peppers are sautéed in butter until tender. Make a roux with about a tablespoon of flour and add 2 cups of vegetable broth. Stir until smooth and add 32 ounces of stewed tomatoes, 2 cups of corn. This would be great to use with some scraped fresh corn on the cob, and 2 cups of cooked diced potatoes. Add a bay leaf and a teaspoon of Italian seasonings. Simmer for about 30 minutes. Remove the bay leaf and serve the chowder in bowls with crusty rolls. This is a great recipe to celebrate the bounty of summer harvest. This is the tomato, potato, corn chowder. Now with Labor Day just around the corner, apple time is here. So you can celebrate in-season apples and pears with this recipe for apple pear brownies. Peel, slice, and cube 2 apples and 1 pear. Melt a ½ cup of butter with brown sugar. Add 1 egg and beat until fluffy. Stir in flour, baking powder, baking soda, and cinnamon. Add the chopped apples and pears and cook in a 9-inch pan for about 35 minutes. Serve this warm with some ice cream and you've got a wonderful dessert, perfect to celebrate the upcoming fall season. So I hope you'll give some of these recipes a try, and I'm going to turn it over now to Heather, and she's got some fabulous looking recipes.
Thanks, Deb. Yours look wonderful. I can't wait to try them.
Great.
And it's great to be here to share some of my favorite harvest recipes, and a lot of my recipes do have zucchini because zucchini is certainly one of my most favorite vegetables. I never tire of it, and certainly it's abundant this time of year. So the first one I'm going to start with is this one right here in this dish, and it's a Mexican. It combines both my favorite vegetable zucchini with my favorite Mexican dish, and it's a chicken enchilada zucchini boat. So you start by taking some zucchini and slicing them in half and scooping out the center. You just scoop out the seeds, but you still leave enough zucchini so you'll have that flavor in your dish as well. So you scoop out the seeds, and then you're going to cook and brush it with a little olive oil, salt and pepper, and cook the zucchini in the oven for about 20-25 minutes, just until it's mostly cooked through. While the zucchini is cooking, you're going to make the filling. The filling has some cooked chicken, it has some tomato sauce and some Mexican spices that you then spoon into the zucchini, and then you're going to top that with a little cheddar cheese or Mexican blend cheese. You cook that for an additional 5 or 10 minutes, and then you take it out and you can top it with whatever you want. You could top it with some fresh cilantro like I did here, some fresh tomatoes, serve it with sour cream, similar to how you would serve any Mexican enchilada. And it was very popular. I made a big dish and served it to my family, and we all really, really loved it. I'm going to move next to another savory dish, because we know there are a lot of zucchini recipes that are both good in savory and sweet dishes, but I'm going to show you a recipe that doesn't have zucchini, but another abundant crop, tomatoes. This time of year we have plenty of tomatoes in our garden, and this is a recipe I've never tried before, but I'm anxiously waiting to try it. It's called tomato pie, and you start with a pre-baked pie shell, so it's rather simple. You can buy that or make one of your own, and then you take, I used Roma tomatoes, just because I like the size for this dish. You slice about 5 Roma tomatoes, you slice them thinly, and then you're going to put a little salt on top to let them sweat, to get some of the moisture out. So you let them sweat for about 10 minutes and pat them dry, and then layer them in the bottom of your pie crust. And then you're going to top the tomatoes with some fresh basil, some fresh chopped onion, and then a mixture on the top is of cheese. So you have some mozzarella cheese, some cheddar cheese, and at the very end, right before you bake it, you top it with some Parmesan cheese, and it cooks for about 30 minutes in your oven. And you end up with a really nice, delicious, cheesy pie mixture. So now I'm going to move to a viewer recipe. We've tried a lot of different zucchini breads in our family. You know, zucchini chocolate bread, zucchini chocolate chip bread, zucchini blueberry bread. So I was really excited to get this recipe. It was a viewer recipe sent in by Nancy Lee Harris from White River Junction, who was given the recipe by Phyllis Bettis of Hartford. So she sent in a pineapple zucchini bread recipe. So it was a new recipe for me to try. And what I love about this recipe is it makes 2 loaves. So I only brought one to the studio today, so you can imagine that my family has already eaten the other loaf. So we have your basic quick bread recipe, but you have a pineapple and zucchini, which just make it so flavorful and so moist. So thank you for sending in that recipe, Nancy, and for Phyllis for sharing it with you. My last recipe looks delicious here sitting, and it's hard not to be eating one of these right now, but for zucchini brownies. I've tried a couple of different recipes, and what I like about this zucchini brownie recipe is it's a little healthier than some of the other ones. And it tastes a little bit like a zucchini cake, but you really can't taste the zucchini at all, so you can hide some of your vegetables while still getting a chocolatey treat at the same time. So I think that this just uses a little bit of oil, not too much, and you can make an optional 1-minute frosting to make it even sweeter. So it's a very delicious brownie recipe, and Lynn's got some more harvest recipes.
I have, and it's good to see you again.
Yes,
how
good to
are
be
your
here.
children?
They're good, all back in school.
Oh, I can't believe that Labor Day is Monday.
I know, it's hard to believe.
Thank you, Heather. Well, with the idea of Labor Day coming up on Monday, my thoughts turn to some recipes that would be good for the autumn. And I'm going to begin with this one right here. It's my slow cooker beef stew. Now, I really like cooking in the slow cooker, and I'm sorry Carolyn isn't here to enjoy this with us. But first, you put in the bottom of the slow cooker your potatoes and then your carrots, but slice them thin so they cook through. Then you top that with your beef and onions. And then the secret sauce is made with tomato paste, brown sugar, and Worcestershire sauce. When the meat is tender, put in some cornstarch, cook a little longer, and you are ready to go. Now, 1 big cup of this is just 340 calories, so this is a hearty and healthy meal, and I hope you'll give it a try. Now, on September 14th and 15th, I'm going to be taking you to Portugal, and We had a really good time over in Portugal, and I hope you'll enjoy those shows, and that's coming up on September 14 and 15. And while I was in Azeitão, I went to a ceramic shop and bought this oven-proof dish that's holding my Portuguese kale soup. And here you see it. It's very flavorful. It's made with onions, potatoes, and sausage, and a pound of kale. Now, if you haven't cooked with kale before, this is a great recipe to start with because it is so delicious and it's easy to cook with the kale. You just shred it up and put it in and cook it. Now, I hope you'll try this while so many fresh vegetables are in the market, and I know your family is going to enjoy it. So on September 14 and 15, you can see me actually buying this dish there in Azeitão. Now, the perfect complement to go with our soup and our stew are these zucchini cheddar biscuits, and here they are. They're so easy to make. Along with the zucchini, there's some shredded cheddar in here, onions, eggs, and spices. You bake them at about 400 for just about 15 minutes, and you are all ready to go. And I hope you'll give these a try while there's so much zucchini growing in our gardens now. This next recipe is kind of a fun recipe. I hope you'll try it this weekend. It was sent in by a viewer. Her name is Phyllis Dimmick of Rutland. It's her grilled meal in one. And you can make it on the grill, or you can do it in your oven and put it out on the picnic table. Now, I'm going to open it up so you can see it, and I want you to take a good look at this. Now, I may have to hold it up because you can see it's a hamburger that's sitting atop sliced onion, potato, and carrots, and that creates a really nice flavor. Now, I'm going to have this for lunch, but before I do that, I'm going to top it with a little relish, and here it is. I want to show you this relish. It's from Sharon Roy, and she's our town clerk up in South Hero, and this is her homemade fruit relish, and just delicious. Now, doesn't this look good? You can see how it kind of falls down over onto the vegetables and so forth. But anyway, among the ingredients in here are pears, apples, peaches, tomatoes, onions, and they're all chopped up, flavored with sugar, vinegar, and spices, and this is really good whether you eat it indoors or outdoors, and we thank Sharon for that. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of my desserts. Here's one that's perfect for the autumn season, and let me put it up here. This is my turtle pumpkin pie. So simple to make. It's made with a graham cracker crust, so you know that makes it easy, into which you put some caramel topping and some chopped nuts. Then the middle layer is made with pumpkin and vanilla pudding and spices all mixed together, and you top with more low-fat topping that you see here and some nuts, and you are all ready to go. I can't tell you how good this is. Your family and friends will think you've spent half the morning in the kitchen making this when it really only took you maybe 35 or 40 minutes. Okay, now my last recipe will show you that. I've had the recipe for quite some time, but my birthday was last month, and I got it out, and I've made it a couple times since. It's from a viewer, Bernadette Nichols of Churubusco, New York. It's always good to hear from across the lake, and it's her buttermilk cake, and you see it here. It's very easy to make, and most of you will have the ingredients right there at home in your cupboard to make this. And today I used blueberries because I had a few blueberries left in my yard, but it made the cake a little moist and it didn't rise as much, but it still tastes just as good. Raisins are used in the original recipe, but Judy, I think it's good to experiment a little with recipes and see how you do, don't you?
I think that's a great idea. Boy, that's a lot of great produce and recipes from produce.
Thank you.
Now, if you want to get these recipes, you can do it a couple of different ways. You can get them online at the Across the Fence website. Go to uvm.edu/extension and click on the link to Across the Fence. You'll find the recipes on the left-hand side of the web page. To get the recipes by mail, send $2 and a stamped, self-addressed business-size envelope to Harvest Recipes, Box 188, South Hero, Vermont, 05486. And please remember, if you're ordering the recipes, to include $2 and a stamped, self-addressed envelope. Your envelope will be used in our free drawing for the Apple Cookbook. If you're not ordering today, you can still use the address on your screen to enter the free drawing. Just send along your name, address, and phone number. Good luck to all of you. And our next In the Kitchen with Across the Fence will be on October 1st with one of your favorite apple recipes. And as we say goodbye, our chefs join me with a cup of cold apple grape punch to wish all of you a happy and safe Labor Day weekend. So long.
Cheers.